I mean, so let's not act like it's definite. I think
It's
we're gonna
completely
pursue it.
exploratory.
Yeah,
100%,
exactly. And I
absolutely.
think there's different ways. I mean, do you want the board appointed? Do you want the board elected? I mean, there's all of that stuff that still needs to be worked out. I also think we need to look at selling the utility as well. I think that if we're going to be fact-based and we're going to thoroughly vet what we're going to do with this utility, let the facts speak for themselves.
And as long as we're going down that path, let's also consider bringing it back under supervision of the city administrator as a department. And let's see if council can do the same thing council does for the other two utilities, for, you know, Public Works, for Parks and Rec, for every other department we have, and just make decisions based on good, you know, ideas and good advice from the directors. I mean, really, that's why when Steve says, you know, he wants to pursue a BPU, I still say, why? I mean, I still don't get why that solves any problem. What problem are you solving?
Because it was consensus of the board of this body that we do that.
And we can't change
That
our
was
mind?
direction of the body that was given on December 16th.
But I think pursue is the key. It's not necessarily that.
And I'm correct. I said
Explore.
pursue.
Well, explore all options.
That's,
Yes.
and I agree with you. I think we do explore all options.
And those
I think
options
the
are?
BPU is a part of that.
And so is bringing it back as a department. And abolishing every other, you know, eccentricity of this organization that does not match with all the other departments within the city.
If I could really quickly, and I'm not trying to rain on your parade here, Larry. You've been on an island on that one, and you realize that. I know you do. However, if what Tori is saying that she would support, and Christie's saying it, and Heath's talking about the language, then yes, while we're exploring doing the BPU, and while we're exploring selling the electric utility, we can explore that as well. I don't want you to get your hopes up is all.
If I develop that skill, if I develop that skill.
Yeah, trust me,
Yeah.
My hopes are subterranean right now.
Okay, so, do we want to,
Pretty low.
how do we want to proceed with,
Is it still the same ordinance 2438 that was originally proposed?
Yes.
I move, we approve ordinance number 2438 to
Second,
provide,
sorry.
to provide for an electric utility advisory board for the purpose of providing advice and guidance to the city council on electric utility, and to further repeal ordinance number 2296 and amend and repeal section 13.20.010 and 13.25.010 of the Gardner Municipal Code.
Second.
motion Harrison, second Podovich, that we approve ordinance number 2438 to provide for an electric utility advisory board for the purpose of providing advice and guidance to the city council on the electric utility, and to further repeal ordinance 2296 and amend and repeal section 13.20.010 and 13.25.010 of the Gardner Municipal Code. Any other questions or comments? Heath?
I have a couple. First of all, do I need to read those back in, the changes? When reviewing those, they're not part of what's drafted before,
They are
so
not.
do they
They're
need to be
not.
read back in?
As amended.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I meant, because I'm looking at the minutes from the 18th.
Right. They're pretty clearly stated within the minutes. Thankfully, I mean, I think that's because they've been able to put that together. Otherwise, this would have been a little bit more daunting. But I don't know if that suffices.
I just want to make sure I understand for the record. So we're starting at page 85 of the packet. We're referring to the amendments to, starting at section 2B, the request to amend.
Current members serve out their remaining terms.
Right.
The next was in 2G. That was less limiting in the scope of when their meetings must be held in order to provide for flexibility.
Okay, say that again.
Well, as it stated,
I have this stuff highlighted. Or
Yeah.
or- you want it right.
And so, strike that provision.
Striking when the meetings must be held, and just the fact that they must have a meeting on a monthly basis,
And they shall not conflict with regular scheduled
right, an effort shall be made to not conflict with regularly scheduled meetings.
council meetings.
And then also strike, I think there was a statement in there that the meeting times must be approved by the city council.
And while we're talking about the meetings, if we're gonna change the verbiage, have we designated that it needs to probably be here so it can be taped and on the record and all
Actually,
that?
I know we
that
wanted
is
every effort
Okay.
to have that.
Part of it,
Okay.
yeah.
And that- I'm sorry, and are those all?
No, I'm sorry, I was still reading that one. Let's see, the next piece,
3A1? There was a question.
that one was a function question.
And
I know there was a strike of something else.
So are you, that's a question and not something that you,
That-
4B.
that you
4B,
If you go to page 86,
Halfway down.
about halfway down, it says, Mr. Freeman referred to the last sentence of section 4B. It's the fifth paragraph. Is there anything you want
That was
to
just a
change? Is there anything you
question.
want to change there, or are you good?
That was just a question.
That was only a question,
So you're
just
good.
wasn't that a
Okay.
core function of the
But
EUD.
section 4C,
4C.
How
was
about-
omitting the first statement, the first sentence, yeah.
Yeah, to the extent
Right,
that the board under
Use coordinate for
ordinance
that.
2296 supported to establish any personnel.
Mr. Shute, is there anything there?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
and I, yeah, there was also an alteration also made further down for, section 4J. That needs to be, removed as well.
One more question.
Sure. I'm looking for four,
Oh, I see what
4J.
you're saying.
That was just a, yeah.
Is there anything you need to address there?
And something I noticed, actually, that I've got in the body that we're repealing 2296, but I'm sorry, I got that in the title. We should probably add that to the body. So, proposed new section 6, which, that would actually be section 5, and section 5 would be in section 6, just stating that ordinance 2296 is repealed, to the extent inconsistent.
Then I have,
Keith, you said you had...
yeah, one more question with the proposed ordinance, is section 2A, that the board shall consist of 5 members. According to the findings that we have, that's not actually statutory compliance because we're a city of the second class, which limits us to 3 members. So in essence, we've not met all the criteria, so do we need to
Well-
do something different there?
But the statutory board criteria actually involves a delegation of authority pursuant to statute.
Okay,
All this is doing is creating an advisory board, and so we don't have to follow the statutes.
okay, so I
Because
just
they're
want to make sure
making
that was clear.
no ultimate decision.
If our ultimate goal
This
is
is,
to be-
this is ultimately like you creating a committee
Okay,
to go and come back with recommendations.
very good. Well, I think those were my questions. I'd certainly be more comfortable voting on something that was rewritten with these requirements, but I understand that that wasn't asked of you for this evening's meeting, and
No.
there wasn't an action on the table, so.
Okay, and so I'll,
Yeah.
with the, well, we need
With the amendment-
we need a, or whoever made the motion, if they will accept, those proposed amendments, then we can move forward with the vote.
Motion was Harrison. You accept the amendments as stated? Yes?
could you review those one more time, and without having to flip
Uh,
through all these pages?
Kim, can you do that, or are you you're gonna have to put it together like us after the fact?
You can just tell us where to,
Section 2B is where proposed ordinance requested that it be amended to state that current members need to be served out their remaining term.
good with that?
And then section 2G, was where all meetings of the board shall be held